Sounds hot.
Thanks, Doug.
Welcome to Mornings with Matt, personal and professional development training that connects the art of acting with critical life skills and self-mastery. Presented by the Deering Acting Studio.
Alrighty, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Mornings with Matt. Today we've got with us Brett Bomeyer, who, when he is not chasing the waves, now resides in the Valley of the Sun with his wife and 2 children. He's a former actor in Los Angeles. Former actor? I don't think so. I will not accept former. He is an actor who used to live in Los Angeles. So maybe he's a former actor, like formerly lived in Los Angeles, happens to be an actor, now lives
the
in
actor
the
formerly known as
the guy who lived in LA. Yeah, so now he's here and he's a part of the Arizona community. Hello, Mr. Brett Bomeyer. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
You looking handsome as usual?
Thank you very much. Good to see everyone. Good to see faces.
Yeah, good to see you too. So how are things right now with you?
Things are, I was saying things are as well as they can be, you know, perspective. Could obviously like different times, but given the circumstances of a lot of people, I'm doing well.
Right on. So talk to me about what's your work outside of acting? What's your day job?
Day job is I work in a veterinary pharmacy. So any of the compounded medicines that your cat or dog may need, I work for a larger company that's a technology company that helps get that to them.
Okay, so, right on. That's an important job. We all have a lot of us have pets that we love. Do you have any pets at home?
I do. Yeah, you'll. One of the cats will probably make an entrance here in a few minutes. No matter come across the Zoom.
All right, awesome. So Brett, I know you've made a few transitions in your life, and some different things have come up, and you've vacillated in and out of the acting world, but you've done some pretty cool stuff. Yeah,
I mean, I'm grateful for it. It's like the itch that won't go away in a good way.
Yeah, we're going to talk about a couple of those here really quick with a little segment we like to call Joey Sweeney Facts. Joey Sweeney, let's list off a few facts here about Brett Bomeyer.
All right, Joey Sweeney facts. Let's see if we can find some very interesting facts here on this piece of paper.
There are some interesting ones.
Your professional work and or actor credits. Brett Bomeyer has been in the Olivia Experiment as the lead.
Facts.
Silicon Valley co-star.
Facts.
The Bounce Back supporting.
Facts.
And multiple national commercials.
Facts.
So basically, you can see Brett like anywhere if you really look hard for him.
Yeah, he's one of the reasons it's really nice for me as a coach because I get to say our students have been seen on every network imaginable, and pretty much Brett just takes up half of them.
He's got them all set.
Yeah.
So what'd you do on Silicon Valley? Was that a one episode, or did you have multiple? What was that?
It was a one episode, and it's funny. While those are facts, I could probably tell you that Silicon Valley was it was a defining moment in my acting career. Probably not in a good way.
Okay.
If you want me to dive into that.
Yeah, let's dive in. Let's dive into it. Why don't we dive in? So here's the deal, Brett Bomeyer. I'm gonna keep calling you Brett Bomeyer because I like the sound of it.
The alliteration's nice.
This is all about being vulnerable right now. It's one of the things that's super important. As a matter of fact, I was going to answer one of your questions later, so I'll just answer it now, actually, since we're diving into it. You wanted to ask me if there was anything that I struggle with as an actor and as a teacher, right? That was one of your questions for me. What do I struggle with as an actor and a teacher? Well, I struggle with a ton of stuff in both areas. All the time. I struggle with memorization. I struggle with self-doubt. I struggle with my laziness. I struggle with all that stuff. The thing that has changed my life completely is vulnerability. is now being willing to be honest with where I am 100%. This is who I am. This is where I am. And now I teach from there. I act from there. So instead of trying to be something I'm not, I'm like really proud of anything that has held me back, that has been a struggle or whatnot. And I talk right into it and I teach from it, and it's given me a lot of power. So there's power in vulnerability. I just want you to know that. So you're, as I said, I mean, very handsome dude. I mean, unbelievable.
Super handsome.
Extremely handsome.
And so you have that going for you. You have all these, you're a manly dude, you're a dad, you've got you've got bills to pay, you have all these things. Well, I'd like you to be vulnerable. So let's dive into this. This is a turning point here. And it's okay if it's emotional and you cry a little bit. We've got a sound effect for that.
We do, yeah.
So you land a role on Silicon Valley. It's a day player role, I guess, right? A one episode or a co-star role. Talk to me about the defining moment.
Yeah, I'd say it probably started a little bit before that, but I'll just lay the groundwork of, I felt an incredible amount of pressure that I never felt before post-kids. Trying to be an actor. Went from someone who didn't really care, probably blindly confident, to start to feel nerves I'd never felt before, feeling the pressure of defining moments. That was an HBO opportunity. I was already at that point a dad where I had noticed that my audition quality had gone down, the balance of life, trying to figure out, is this a way I can really take care of the family financially, with the gaps in between work. And in Silicon Valley, it was the series premiere. It was, they flew us out to San Francisco. It was the one where they were in the San Francisco baseball ballpark, so they had the whole stadium rented out. I'm in the green room with the leads. It was a real big buildup, but the nerves were out of control. Couldn't control them. I had 3 or 4 lines in it, and it was one of those, maybe the size of the production and how big it was. I was doing a joke at home plate, and it was kind of this storyline that was going through the whole episode. Where they keep misidentifying, I forget his name, one of the leads though, maybe Jared. And I could not get my first 2 lines down. And it happened as soon as I got in, and Mike Judge was the director, and he comes over and we do a quick little rehearsal, and I butcher it. Just the first little rehearsal, butcher it. And I almost could feel the leads looking at me like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
Uh-oh, hired the wrong guy. So you start off on the wrong foot with a bad rehearsal. And for whatever reason, and it was shot at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, I could not get my first 2 lines out. And it was something tricky, like, they need more ice in the on-deck circle, trying to treat the other guy like a waiter. And I must have flubbed the line, I think, 3 times. And I had Mike Judge and the writer, who are 80 feet away behind first base, shooting it from a distance, come up to me, and they're like, what's going on? Like, did you read the script? Like, these are the lines. And at that point, the self-doubt became so real. And I was just, while on set, being like, I cannot wait for this to end. You don't deserve to be here. This is what happens when you don't commit 100%. It's your worst nightmare coming to fruition. And I eventually got it. And the lead actors, too, were doing a little bit of improv. And Mike Judge didn't hear that. Or he'd be like, hey, bro, I'm going to try this or try that. And I'd go with that, not knowing, like, I've been talked to stay to the lines over and over. And when that scene ended, I remember going back to my trailer, like, sure, I eventually got it, but it took so many times. The self-doubt was so real that it actually, when it came to, and never know if I'm beating myself up or not, but the entire storyline was cut out of the script from the series premiere.
Okay.
So my entire scene, 3 other co-stars' entire scene, they just cut it from the whole thing. And obviously the self-doubt goes, it's because you ruined that scene.
Yeah.
So Silicon Valley, as much as it was great, I found out like a week and a half before that I was cut out, and I was like, okay. So one of those, it's funny. You get a couple of these types of moments, and that's probably where I left. And I never know if I'm too hard on myself or I just keeping it real. And I don't know. I certainly can tell you that I never experienced nerves like that in my entire life on anything. In fact, I used to be, like I said, blindly confident. I'd go in, I'd be learning my lines, an hour before I went into something.
Sure. Well, let's dive right in, man. I mean, this is a big deal. So, I think people have experienced this same thing that you did on many levels, both on a bigger stage and smaller stage. And and it's all about how you reflect upon it, and can you find a way to get through it? Do you want to find a way to get through it? Is it something that really drives you? So I think this whole thing comes back to your why. Why do you want to be an actor? Do you want to be an actor? Take that experience aside. Why would that be important to you?
Well, to the question why you want to be an actor, I've asked that question to myself so many times. I used to wonder, I go, is it your ego driven? Is it your passion driven of the arts? And it comes down to like the feeling I had in bed last night. I watched Scent of a Woman till about midnight. Watching the ending scene, Al Pacino gives his monologue, it's on integrity, and I'm sitting in bed just wowed. And you're like, that's what a leader is, and he describes that scene. I don't know if anybody's seen Scent of a Woman. Sorry, not to go too into it, but there's a great monologue at the end. And it brought me right back to the day that I got out of the movie theater and saw Little Miss Sunshine, and the feeling that I had, and kind of feeling out of this world, if you will, and wanting to be a part of that. And the unexplainable factor is I've never known what the true reason is other than it felt like a calling. I don't know why. That's just what it always felt like. Felt like someone who I had a natural skill set for it. I did it when I was young. I used to be kind of the weird kid, I guess you'd say, because I was just blissfully unaware. Didn't realize people thought I was weird. But I went, I was in middle school. I loved to do the plays at lunch, put myself out there, improv, didn't care. And then hit the years that did care. And I always thought, man, the truest I ever was when I was unaware.
Yeah.
And that felt like a more natural state that I always, I guess, have wanted to get back to. But, you build all these layers, and I'm not sure that I can anymore if I'm being vulnerable and honest.
Yeah, okay. Good. So my thought on this is, yes, you can, but you've got to decide. It's got to be a decision that you make, and now you have you've got scar tissue that we've got to break through and get you back to that innocent place of where you started when you were a kid. And here's something I wrote down too when it came to another one of your questions that you had for me, which was, how do we get rid of the nerves? Because you mentioned this just now, where you said things were heightened for you once the kids came into play, right? And all of a sudden there was this big heightening of finances and like pressure and all this different stuff, right? And my thought on that actually is a little bit in that you probably should have been putting more pressure on yourself before the kids, so that the kids weren't this big shocker. Like, you should have been like, hey, like, all of this matters. So here's my little trick to this. And I do have this written in. Do you have the Acting Is My Day Job, the book?
Yep.
I've got an idea from the book that's written in there as well. But here's the concept, basically, is you need to make every audition, every class, every gig, your at-home practice, your practice with your kids, whatever it is, you put as much pressure on yourself for each one of those as the HBO series, so that the pressure becomes something you're used to, something that's natural. You purposefully do it, and it's something that you start to look forward to. You get used to it. It becomes something that becomes a challenge, that becomes fun, and you become comfortable in the uncomfortable. That's the idea. So let's just say this HBO series, I mean, you crashed and burned hard, right? I mean, like, ouch, right? Out. Let's just call it what it is. Okay. Now you made a choice. The choice is, all right, I guess maybe this isn't for me. Let me ask you a question. You're a surfer. You ever eaten it hard?
Yes.
I mean hard.
Hard.
Painful, scary, maybe near death.
Oh yeah. Taking steps backwards.
Slamming the bottom of the ocean. I mean, just like a big, like, whoa. And so what?
Drowning.
Near drowning. So what did you now? Do you still surf?
Yeah.
Okay. So So my thought is here, right? Your why for surfing is like, this is who I am. It's a part of who I am. It's a part of my expression of who I am. It's a calling. If I crash and burn, if I hit it really hard, yeah, I've got to step back. What do I do when I step back as a surfer? And I had this experience. Rather than quit, I look at it and go, okay, what was I trying to do that I'm not ready for yet? And how do I get the skills to make sure that the next time I can accomplish that thing when it comes up, and so that I can survive the wave? But whatever it is, it's not going to stop me from getting out there again. It's just I got to go back to the basics. I got to work on my craft and earn my way back up to the big wave. And if you think about it, as a surfer coming up, you would never in a million years try to ride like a 10-foot wave when you first start.
Yeah.
And I'm just throwing out numbers because I don't know surfing, but the idea being like, you know, the big one, you're like, hey, I'm like just starting out. I would never swim out there because I know I'm gonna get burned, eaten alive. Well, as actors, we kid ourselves and we think that we're ready. A lot of people do, and they're like, I want that big wave, even though I haven't earned it, even though I'm not ready, whatever. And then you get up there and then it hurts and you crash and burn. So ideally, I want you to think, okay, I caught a wave, maybe this wake up call. What do I do with it now? How do I get myself to a place where I've earned a wave that's 10 times bigger than that with my skill set, so that I can jump on that wave and it becomes easy for me? And you can do it. I promise you can do it, but it is a choice. Like, it's a choice of something you got to go, okay, I don't care about the finances. I don't care about the using this to provide. Like, that stuff will happen. I trust it will happen. This is only about my why. And my why is that when I go to the theater and I watch a movie that moves me, that really connects to me, I know I can do that. I feel it. I'm called to it. I have to do that for other people. And I think that's your calling. Your calling is some people watch the movie and they go, great. You watch the movie and you go, I meant to do this. I meant to help other people feel the feeling I just felt thanks to Al Pacino. I meant to do that for other people. I have to find a way to do it. That's the calling inside of you.
Yeah.
And you are a good actor. You know, you really are. But you've got this major roadblock right now. And it is that, I mean, that turning point for you, it's huge. You got in your head, you started telling yourself the wrong things, and instead of getting aggressive about the work and aggressive about making sure that something like that never happened again, you just made sure it would never happen again by not putting yourself out there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that was it's a fair assessment all around. That's exactly what happened.
We gotta
change my narrative.
We gotta grab that surfboard, get back out there.
Yeah.
Start jumping on the smaller waves.
You gotta start with the bunny slope, my friend. Joe Sweeney fact.
The bunny slope.
I transferred it to snowboarding because that was something that I could use in my own terms.
Good job, Joey.
Yeah.
No, so let me tell you something that's funny on our end here. These guys hesitated over here because I threw them a softball here, and so basically we prepared this whole thing, Brett, and I said if I happen to bring up the book.
Oh, I was like,
yo, hit the button.
I was like ready to go. I was like sitting here like
shameless plugs.
Shameless plug. Ladies and gentlemen, This is Acting is My Day Job. 7 strategies to market and make money as an actor, written by your very own Matthew Deering.
Oh, you guys. Wow. You didn't have to do that. That's crazy.
I also have a second plug I'd like to throw out real quick.
Hit it.
That I just thought this was so well written.
It's time now for Brian Sweeney's Shameless Plugs.
Shameless plugs. So he wrote this as a quote to the experience here, and I really loved it, Brett. It really kind of moved me, so I wanted to share it. It says, I've trained in many different studios, and Matt's version is among the best. A true storyteller who could probably guide you to success in any form of art. I truly think if I met Matt earlier in my career, I would have learned the disciplines and perspective to have found full-time success in this industry. So I love that. And
That's very nice.
Yeah, it was so nice. And it kind of dealt with exactly what you said about earlier, like when you're starting out, and discipline, really. I just thought that specific word, the idea of like discipline and perspective, like it's something that hopefully our listeners here can cling on to and hear, because like you said, Brett, if you'd heard that and realized that earlier, it could have changed the whole game. But the game can change now. Like Joey said, like Matt said, starting today, you can make that decision.
Yeah, it's not too late. You know that, right?
I think I probably need to convince myself of that, but I meant every word I just said with that. And it's almost like, other people in your class will probably attest to it. If I get a chance to talk to him for 2 minutes, it's like, it reminds me of, Billy Madison, talking to the kid in school about how this is the best time of your life. It's like, take advantage of this. You'll never have a time. I was undisciplined in the beginning. I honestly believe had I met you earlier and was more disciplined and more passionate about the tools that you need, to really hone your craft, I would have had a different outcome. And I believe that wholeheartedly, and I believe it now too, because I know how hard I can work. I've done it in my regular career now. It just took me a while to figure it out. It took for me, my motivation was the kids. That was my rocket fuel that propelled me in a different direction. I wish I could have found a different source of fuel at a younger time and have met you. And I couldn't say that any more truthful, which is you've got a vision and you've got a way to explain it. Actually, you all do. When I'm observing in class, and it's hard because I recognize too, when I'm on stage, you can't always hear it. It's like you go on stage and the nerves or whatever it is, it can block it out and you're trying to hear what the notes are. But when you're observing it, it's, it seems so obvious.
Yeah.
So it's the vision, the passion you guys have. I don't need to compliment you any further than I think what those lines said, which is I couldn't be more genuine about it. And so if anybody is serious about acting and they want to trust someone I was SAG, I was represented across the board. I had momentum going at one point, couldn't do it. It wasn't enough. If I could tell you if there's one thing that's the most important, it's get into an acting class and really hone your skills and your discipline.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I completely agree. And discipline is the answer to so many things. And so here's what I want to throw at you, Brett. And I just want to say, if I told you 5 years from now that you'd still have your career, you'd be successful in the career you're in, and you'd also be having more opportunities to be on major networks like HBO, would you be interested?
Yes.
You would?
I would.
Okay, so it doesn't scare you too much, that big wave, like that doesn't scare you?
Not when I was being consistent with class. I was feeling something open up again. But since I've been in the recent times and you just get one tracked again back to work, maybe it's a little more frightening today. But no, a few months ago, I was coming home and jabbering after every class, and my wife's here, just like she loved it. She likes that version of me.
Good. Yeah, good. Okay, and that's funny too, because you're right. Like it does change the way you treat everybody in life. When you're on your purpose and you're operating in a certain level, everybody feels it. These guys felt it with me yesterday. And I just, going back to vulnerability, when the second wave of coronavirus hit, the first wave hit, it took me about 3 days of mourning to go, this is weird. Like I thought it wasn't going to be as bad as this. And then I snapped out of it and I was like, all right, boom. And I had an action plan. I said, here's what we're going to do. And we did it. And this show is a part of that. This show was like, okay, like we want to give, we want to provide, we want to do for people. We're not going to let this thing hold us back. We're going to find a way. Cool. Well, then the second wave. So then we thought we were through it. And the second wave hit. And you've heard, like, theaters are going out of business. The UCB out in New York shut down 2 locations, right? So it's not like it's easy for the arts right now. And we are the arts. And so the second wave hit, and all my self-doubt rose up. All my, everything inside me, these little decisions and this and that. And I'm like, you know, I had to battle that for about, and this last one was about 2 weeks. Now this show helped because every morning I got to get up and help other people. So it, you know, that shifted my mind and different things, but I had to kind of like go in and just be honest, like, hey, you suck right now, man. Like you're depressing, and like, you know, I don't like this version of you. What are you going to do about it? And I realized the word you said that reminded me of this is momentum. So I came in yesterday and I was unrecognizable, complete ball of energy. Nobody could do anything to dissuade my focus, my faith, my understanding of where we're going, my commitment to our vision and our mission. I mean, it was unparalleled probably to anything in the last year, the amount of energy I brought in yesterday.
Joey Sweeney facts.
Joey Sweeney facts.
Joey Sweeney facts.
And so I told these guys, I said, we have one job. I don't care about money. I don't care about this. I don't care about that. I don't care about anything. The only thing I care about, team, is momentum. Today, we get our momentum back. And this is the analogy I want to give you, and hopefully this helps you with your acting career. Think of the thing you want, your hopes and your dreams, like the big thing, as a boulder. And you're trying to push this boulder up a hill. So for me, it's the studio, and we have a very specific mission and vision, and we're trying to push this boulder up a hill. Well, you've got your family, I've got the team here and my family, and they're helping me push the boulder, but really, you know, I'm kind of in charge of pushing this thing. Well, what happened was the second coronavirus wave hit, and it's like hail came down on us. And instead of putting our cleats on and digging deeper and pushing harder, I let us just quit for a minute. And not quit, but just not push, you know, not push. And so what happens when you stop pushing the boulders, it starts rolling back down the hill. So you start losing momentum, and you have to snap yourself out of it and go, guys, let's jump on this thing. And you got to gain the momentum. But once you start gaining momentum, one day builds on the next day. So you don't have to do anything other than create momentum today. Become that guy that your wife and kids are even more in love with because he's exercising his artistic part of what he does. And that just means memorize something every day. You know, you ask me, you know, I'm not a good memorizer, but I'm a good reader. Like, what's the deal with that? Blah, blah, blah. You don't practice memorizing. I guarantee it. That's why you're not a good memorizer. It's a muscle. So if you memorized every single day and you understand that your brain is a muscle and you can exercise that muscle, you just have to do it daily. So start with whatever the heck you want. Like memorize surfing quotes, memorize inspirational quotes, memorize Matthew Deering quotes, shameless plugs. Memorize a Shakespeare sonnet, like whatever. You just start going down the list, and it's like, today I'm going to memorize something. It might be a word, it might be a phrase, it might be a sentence, it might be a monologue. But you start exercising that muscle, and it's a daily choice. So then you go, okay, what can I commit to? 10 minutes. Perfect. I will memorize every day for 10 minutes. That's it. Every day for 10 minutes. Well, 10 minutes becomes more usually because you get to the end of the alarm. Sometimes you turn it off. Sometimes you're like, might as well just keep memorizing a little longer. And before you know it, you're in the practice of memorizing. Now, I guarantee you, and I'm sure you would have a hard time refuting this, if you worked on memorization for a minimum of 10 minutes, but probably more, but a minimum of 10 minutes every day from this day forward up until 5 years from now, never missed a day, you'd be a pretty damn good memorizer, yeah?
Yeah.
You just would be. So then all of a sudden you get an opportunity, that big wave comes, and it's HBO comes calling again, and they say, here's your script, it's 5 lines. You'll have it memorized in an hour. And then, like those lead actors did, you've earned the right to improvise. You've earned the right to be free because you're completely memorized. You know it like the back of your hand. You can play it a certain way. You've given them their safe take. Then you can just kind of be free. And then, like I always say, don't use improv as a crutch. Improv should be something that's used as a tool to enhance the acting that you've already done, but the work has to be done first in a scripted material. And I believe the reverse is true of improv. For you to improvise really, really well, you need to be smart. You have to be well-read. You have to have done character analysis and character breakdowns and really understand storylines and all that and game and just so many things that are involved in improv, you have to do all the work to be free to improvise. So to do scripted work really well, you know, they go back and forth. So that's my big word for you is going to be cruel. However long it's been now, you just say, this is what it was. The boulder either stood still or moved backwards a little bit. No big deal. Let me just jump behind it and start pushing this thing. And I don't care about the money. I don't care about the series. I don't care about the accolade. I don't care about this or that. The only thing I care about is, can I, in some way, shape, or form, move an audience member the way I was moved when I watched Scent of a Woman? And if that's the truth, if that's your real intimate why, you could sign up for, take one of our virtual acting classes, do a piece to the top of your ability. We could be streaming it on YouTube, and somebody somewhere could see that performance and be moved the same way you were moved when you watched Scent of a Woman. Now your goals are already coming true immediately. And then the better you get at it, the bigger the stage God will provide for you because you're doing your calling.
Yeah. You know, I can't tell you how much I miss being in class, just hearing you talk right now. And what you're saying, and I will commit to that.
Good. You need to.
Right now, it's missing.
Yeah.
It's something. You're smart.
I got an awesome story for you. You know, one of our other students, Ian Seegers, was he was in the classes and doing his stuff, and I was really pushing him hardcore because he's a really good actor. Ian is. And yet he had a lot of what I have, which is an inkling for laziness. And that comes from being good enough, comes from being good looking enough, from being like just good enough to get away with it. And good enough doesn't cut it. So I was really pushing him harder because I knew though he was good, he wasn't doing his best. I could just tell. Anyway, he really grinded and did some really good work. Well, he inspired somebody. This is crazy. This guy named Paul, who lives in Nigeria, happened to be tuning in to the live YouTube class, watched it, reached out to Ian, was like, "Hey, I'm a fan. Like, this is super cool, you know." So he impacted somebody across the seas just from our classes. We invited that kid to come in. I call him a kid. He's was he like 20, 18, something. Anyway, yeah, we invited him to be on the show. We talked to him. We're trying to get him a book. We invited him into class. He's now an ongoing student from Nigeria who is taking the classes, and he's like formed a community with us, an international community. And that all started from a student being willing to be vulnerable and give their all. So now Ian, whatever he does with his acting career, fine, but he can't say he's not impacting the world already. You know, like that's a good thing. That's a powerful, positive thing. And if that becomes your why and it's really strong, you'll then find more ways to systematically push out your art for the right reasons. And I believe money follows passion always. So the money will come, the finances will come. God's going to provide you with what you need when you're ready. But I say in the book here that when you get the promotion before you're ready for the promotion, that's the worst thing that can happen to anybody. You don't want to be on the big stage before you're ready. So all the people who are out there just dying to be famous, dying to get the big role, saying, "Hey, this is my goal," you got to eliminate that out of your vocabulary, because once you get it, if you're not ready for it, man, there's really nothing worse than that feeling of being in the spotlight and not being ready for that level quite yet.
And did you say that it's in
It's time
the
now
book?
for Brian Sweeney's Shameless Plugs.
Shameless plugs. I can get the book on Amazon.
I got really, really high on that.
You did?
It does, it feels- yeah.
I had killer harmony there.
I think I agree with me and not Dakota that might take too long, that little sound effect.
Yeah, we may have to simplify it down a bit.
yeah.
We'll just record it again, sing it again.
It's so fun. We have to record some things after this.
Yeah, maybe like a 5-second rap.
And I'd like to throw something out while you're doing that to Brett really quick to remind you too. you're a family of actors as well, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
So your kid loves acting, your wife loves it. So like, that's where you can do stuff at home together. And now you're going to get better, but it's also cool family time. Like, my dad's not an actor, like could not be more not an actor. Hates the stage, hates the spotlight. But we were on this road trip and I had this idea that I just wanted to do some fun, like videos from the car that like actors could do anywhere. And I was just like, Joey's asleep, so I'm like, well, you know what? I'm just gonna ask my dad to play, and he did it. Like, we played top 3, and we were like listing off things and out there, and he had a hilarious one. Like, he just listed off 3 things, and so there are these games and things that literally you're building your skill set. Like, you're building that mind, just like memory, but you're also building really cool memories as a family and bonding over something that you all care about. So I'd highly encourage you to find fun ways to do that together and be growing together, because I think you'd be surprised how much they would love it and be excited by it.
You know, yeah, absolutely. My son loves it. Reminds me of looking at myself. It's so weird. We actually did a family commercial the other day, and he didn't realize that we were rotating. So we were background to a principal scene, but we're in the background, and he looks over, he's like, are we background? I wanted to be in front of the camera, and I was like, oh my gosh, looking at like myself 25, 30 years ago. It was like, just for the scene, buddy. But it was like, wow, you are not nervous at all. He craves it. He loves it. My daughter begs us to play charades at night, family room charades, you know, where they get to go be the actors and we guess what they're doing. I can't tell you what a gift this was today. Being able to be talked through this, I feel like it was actually an undeserved gift, if I'm being totally honest with where I've been. And sometimes and it probably goes down to one of the questions I even asked you, which is, I think I struggle a little bit with the balance between being pragmatic and following passions. Surfing, for whatever reason, has always felt effortless for me. I'm pretty driven in surfing. You know, my friends are always blown away by the efforts I'll make, where I'll drive to, how early I'll wake up, how cold it is, doesn't matter. And I think with acting sometimes is there's just that physical distance. And that's really the truth is, call it laziness, is you work really hard in a lot of areas and you give all this effort and sometimes the tank just feels a little bit empty. And I know I was feeling that with just even having the drive. When I had to take care of the family and it was, all right, LA's not going to work because that's not good schools and that's not where I want to raise the kids, at least where I was. Okay, let me go now to Orange County, but I'll just drive for auditions. Now I got an hour and 20-minute drive to go to this audition, and it takes a lot out of you. And even in class, being honest, is I live 35 minutes from the studio at night, and that could take it out of you. And it was never the class. And I'm sitting here looking at this like, how blind am I that this situation has made you guys offer a virtual class, one where I can work at home, work with my family, jump on and give a chance to like push myself and not even seeing it in front of my face. You know, just only focusing on the negative of I'm on Zoom calls all day and I'm exhausted and I'm learning this or learning that. And I don't know, you know, I hope it doesn't come across as rambling, but I'm sitting here actually really humble and grateful to this call and motivated and wondering, man, I don't learn. How many times have I said I was just going to go memorize a monologue, a new one? I have this scene in my head that I always wanted to do, and just because I connected to it, and I never memorized it. I think I had that idea 5 years ago for that scene.
Okay, so there you go. So here's your task. I always give everybody a task, and your task is now that monologue.
Okay.
And your responsibility is to be memorized. What is today? Tuesday?
Today is Tuesday.
You got to be memorized all the way by Saturday. He laughs. You can do it.
No, I mean, yes.
You can do it. You just have to start today. You do it every day. That's all it is. And I know you probably got to get going and get off to work and everything, but just you know what you said is so important, and you're right. Like everything that you're doing, this goes to everybody that's out there. Whatever the thing is that you're telling yourself, you've got to change the story, because I could say I have to drive 35 minutes to class, or I can say I don't have to drive an hour and a half. It's only 35 minutes. It's great. I can say this is my alone time that I get for me when I'm driving in the car to listen to motivation or personal development or some sort of like morning show named after me, you know, something that really that connects me into positivity, that gives me life and is life driven. You know, and so like here's a good example. Okay, And again, like I'm totally fallible. I like to respond from vulnerability. So I've got a knee surgery coming up. I had a knee surgery a year ago. I'm an avid sports player. I love competitive sports. It's the thing that fills me up. It's my social like network is everything sports related. Surfing, like, dude, that gets me excited to like do that. I've only been surfing twice in my life, but I loved it. I loved the challenge of it. It was really, really hard. And so that's like a big part of who I am. And even my relationship with my kids completely changed. I used to come home from work every day. We jump on the trampoline. Like that was our thing. And then we would run and jump and play. And now all of a sudden I can't keep up with my 1-year-old. My knee I get these knife jabs in there. My meniscus is still torn. And so I had this oh, woe is me moment. And I was thinking about the upcoming surgery that's coming up next week. And I started this mental game that was negative. And I was going like, oh man, I have to have another surgery. Like this sucks. And like, it didn't work last time. Why is it going to work this time? And like all that negativity. And then I was like, what are you doing, bro? Stop it. Change the story immediately. And I was like, okay, wait a minute. So what happened? All right. Your injury was a double torn ACL, a double torn meniscus, and a bone fracture. The doctor did a great job because the ACL is great on both sides. The meniscus is great on one side. The bone fracture is good. You just have this one little part left. Be grateful for that. Be grateful. Guess what, bro? This is an elective surgery. Elective, meaning it's a choice, meaning you're lucky to live in a land where it's a possibility that you get to do this. You have a chance to get your knee back. Like, get excited about that, you know? And I just started flipping like all of my thoughts, and I'm going, boom, like I can't wait for surgery Monday. I'm very excited about it to go through the next process of healing and finding a way to get myself back to the trampoline, you know, just back to the things I do with my kids and whatnot, and be grateful for those little things that have been taken away from me for a full year. And now I literally have a start over point with my physical therapy and everything else. But I had to flip the mindset. Now, if I talk to my dad, who's a doctor, or any other doctors who are out there who've ever been through surgery, they can tell you that there's something very strange that happens. If a patient comes into a surgery with a negative mindset, the chances of complications rise exponentially. When a patient goes into surgery with a positive mindset, knowing it's going to work, miracles happen. It's like the weirdest thing. And my dad will tell you, he's like, I actually just can't explain it. Science cannot explain it, but there's something that happens when if you go into it thinking it's going to work out, it does somehow a lot of the time. And when you think it's not going to, that happens also. So what you just said is so profound to go, okay, in all areas of my life, what is the story I'm telling myself? I have to be on Zoom calls, or Zoom has provided me a way to maintain my living, so that I get to keep providing for my family and I'm not on unemployment because of this. Man, I'm so grateful. Boom. You know, yeah, there's these virtual classes. I can take those, or I can choose to take the 35 minutes of alone time, you know, twice in a night. Like, how great is that? You know, and I can make these different choices and go, boom, like these are choices I get to make. Then when it comes back to your family, you get to go, let me tell the story of what I want to tell my family. I need my son to see me working, grinding, doubling down on my effort, not thinking that to be featured or to be background is any different. Honestly, he shouldn't be thinking that. If you let me get a hold of him, I'm going to rip that out of his mind right away. Because that's the wrong mindset. You know, if he's going, oh, are we background? Like, yeah, buddy, we're background, and it's important back here, and we have to do a really good job back here, you know, and maybe we didn't earn being foreground the entire time. Like, we gotta look at the way we're doing things, the way that we work and grind. You talked about, you know, your friends that are so amazed by the work you do as a surfer, and we don't realize, like, it takes the work on the little things as an actor for the tiny moments of those, like those big moments. So the work you're doing as a surfer, 98% of it is not in the water. You're working on different things mentally. You're driving, you're waking up, you're polishing your board, you're doing all the little tiny things that have nothing to do with catching the wave, so that when the opportunity comes, you're ready. And that's all it is. I mean, that's like you said in your quote, I could help anybody with any art form. I can help anybody with any career in any time, because really it's all the same. It comes down to this idea of work ethic, belief, and knowing that you can do it, and then just putting the time in. And here's the thing, I'll leave you with this. How do I deal with the balance between passion and being pragmatic? Here's how you do it. You follow your passion, but you be pragmatic about how you're going to get there.
Love it.
Cool.
I'm signing up for virtual classes.
Hey!
All right, well, you're going to get...
signing up. And I have till Saturday. I hold myself accountable.
We'll check in with you on Saturday.
Yeah, do us a favor. Put up a post of some kind and tag us in it, and just let us know that it got done. And
I will do that.
And how you're feeling, about it too.
In fact, I'm gonna put a reminder in my phone.
Thanks,
for
Joey.
Saturday.
Joey Sweeney, thanks.
And if there is no post, then you may receive a text message. Ooh.
Or a post of shame.
Post of shame. Post of
There will
shame.
be a post. I'm real weird about putting my. It's funny. It takes maybe lack of confidence or lack of deserving. I will definitely do it, and I will send over a video. Socially, I don't always post until I feel like I've earned it. I'm just weird like that. I want
Very
to
good.
have something.
Very good.
I give you my word. I will send a video.
I totally understand that. So here's what you got to do with posting then. Post for our benefit, not yours. It's not about you. It's not about you. So the post, you don't have to perform the monologue. I don't care. But you post, and all you're doing is saying thank you.
Yeah.
So like, if you want to lift us up, you got to help us get more followers. You know, like this message needs to get out to the world, to more kids in Nigeria and other countries. Like, it's got to get out there. So if you hold back because you're worried about you're doing what a lot of other people are doing, and that's holding us back.
That is Joey Sweeney facts.
He knows it's true. Look at his cheeks are so pink.
Oh man,
So pink.
no.
All right, Brett, we love you, dude. I'm so glad you came on the show this morning. Thank you for being vulnerable and awesome as usual. Love your tattoos and your scruff. It's really cool.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Namaste.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you all so much for watching. This has been Mornings with Matt. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this channel. Helps us put out this light-driven content. Thank you, and God bless.
Thanks for listening to Mornings with Matt. Please like, subscribe, and follow us at Deering Acting Studio to keep up with the latest content. For more information on classes, private lessons, or professional development coaching, visit www.deeringstudio.com. Have a Deering day, everyone.